Hey everyone, quick video here. Look what I started. My openbuilds Workbee 1510 60-inch by 40-inch. Well, that's what you get. There's the rails. You get a really nice set of pick pack list. Everything in the box. Pretty cool. Very well documented. Going through it right now. Then I'm going to look for some instructions, and I'm going to go to town on this thing. DeWalt router, nice. Anyway, thank you, openbuilds. I'll tag you. I want to show you how good of a packing job this company does. Look at this. This is extruded aluminum. Tiny little box. Bubble wrap in every gap. Shrunk wrap. U-line corners. Very well done. Look at this. Not a scratch. Awesome. Thank you. Well, hey everybody. Yes, I'm in the thick of it. Building my CNC router. Got one of the Y-axis parts done. Got my instruction manual going. Little trick on the instruction manual, you need to find it on the web. Got all the parts figured out. And went through the instruction manual. Made sure I knew where everything was. Kind of organized everything. Doesn't look like it, but it is, sort of. I'm doing the other Y-axis bracket. Hey everyone. Yep, little update on the CNC. Yep, making some progress. We got the Y-axis pieces built. Kind of tricky. Gotta get some things lined up, and then make sure you got a bunch of washers in the right. Stepper motors are on. Very cool. Thank you, openbuilds. Nice little setup. Then I got the Z-axis built. And this is a bunch of work. A lot of little pieces. A couple stepper motors. This one's a screwdriver versus the belt. And yeah. Now we're doing the X gantry. I have most of it assembled. I consider this a mock-up. I've got to make sure I have all the little pieces and parts right. Z is done. X is done. Y is a little loose. One of the hard parts was the belt, getting that installed and making sure it was working. I'm going to be working on the waste board and how I'm going to build my table. That is next. So I have things all mocked up on here and not too many parts left. Very exciting. I have all the electronics to do, as you can see. Got the power supply put together. I got the X-axis gantry configured. All the wiring done on it. Got the Z-axis wired, along with the light for the router. Hopefully that took. And one of the Y motors done. I start doing the black box controller, and that is going to need to be done with me a little more awake. And I also need to do all of this wiring. I need to build this cable tray so I can run all the wire through it. But I'm giving up the ghost for the night. Talk to you all tomorrow. The black box controller. It comes fully disassembled. We'll see how this goes today. You get 2 control boards, a fan, a bunch of hardware, some heat sinks, and the box. This one looks like it's a pretty challenging build. Working on the black box controller. That one right there, black box, sorry. So like any electronics build, you want to start from the base up. And the picture is pretty self-explanatory if you've seen this stuff before. That is the picture they give you. It's not too hard to figure out. You just start from the bottom up, and then you set in your standoffs and do the first board, then do the second board, and little wire connectors that need to come out for the end plates to get put on. You set your screws and you go to town. Almost done. I have most of it assembled. I consider this a mock-up. I've got to make sure I have all the little pieces and parts right. Z is done. X is done. Y is a little loose. One of the hard parts was the belt, getting that installed and making sure it was working. I'm going to be working on the wasteboard and how I'm going to build my table. That is next. So I have things all mocked up on here and not too many parts left. Very exciting. I have all the electronics to do, as you can see. Got the whole Workbee built. Mechanical is done. I'm doing the wiring. You need to go to their website and you need to watch the video to wire this thing. They go through it in really good detail. There we are. It's all built. I have the wiring 90% done. I have the wireway for the X gantry done. I have the Z done. Power supply assembled. Black box assembled and wired. I'm cleaning up the extra wire. I wish I would have known that. I would have cut them off the right length, but little live and learn, right? I have the Y-axis wire guide all done, and the Y-axis mocked up. I still have to zip tie these connectors together and do the power supply. I want to go over do a little quick video on these belt tension deals. I'll do a forum lookup, but you run the belt up and down, and then you pull it back through, and it's supposed to lock against each other on here, and then you tighten it up with a couple 8mm screws, and then it's supposed to stay. So when you run the belt around it, it's supposed to lock against itself so you can have tension on the belt on both sides. Well, it kept pulling through here because there's nothing on the bottom here to push up against it. So I wrapped it around itself, locked it into itself, and then wrapped some electrical tape around it. So you can see, you probably can't see. And it solved the problem. The black box takes, they say a couple minutes in the video. It took me like an hour. I wanted to make sure I got everything right. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't breaking it. So there was that. The power supply takes about 2 minutes to get the sides put up together, no big deal. Make sure you look at your wiring, make sure there's nothing bound up, and then make sure all of your connections are tight. One thing I noticed when I was doing these little strips was the wire would get caught and then it would be pulling it and everything, so patience is key. Also got the router put in, and I got my desk boot. Well, it is powered up. I have the software loaded. I have openbuilds control version 1.0215. I have it working with a black box. I have control over it. No wasteboard or spoil board, some people call them. But I do have the router on, all wired up through the chain guard and the dust collector on. I have run a probe test. I've run it through homing, and I've jogged it. I've got a wasteboard installed, and a little bit of frustration kicked in. We have an issue that I'm going to have to engineer a solution for. One issue is the Z-axis workspace travel. 3/4 inch wasteboard, built exactly like they said to you, and it has just enough room to put 3/4 underneath it, but it doesn't fit. Working on that. That's the other problem. Too short. Working on that too. Bye. The overall work height is 1.75 inches, and that's total work height on the Z-axis. That is inclusive of your wasteboard. So wasteboard and work on this right now are 1 1/4. I'm sorry, 1 1/2, so give me 1/4 inch. Barely. So with the bit installed, you can't even get the bit out. So there's two fixes. I got a couple seconds left. Bigger Y plates, or push the wasteboard down inside this frame. I'm going to do the wasteboard down inside the frame and probably order new Y plates. Bye. The Z-axis. So the Z-axis had a problem where down here, the threaded rod, the screw poked down below it. I looked at everything on all the forums, and everything said just go in and raise this up. Well, when I had it all the way maxed out, these weren't long enough. So I happen to have some 10 millimeter bush or spacers. Don't quite like how it looks, but I will take it for now. I got the space I need. I'll look on their website and their forums and maybe post something up there. But little FYI on the Workbee 1510, the spacers on the top stepper motor are a little short. The bolts are long enough, way long enough, and then the spacers are too. That last video may have left a few questions. So I have the Z-axis put back together, motor, spacers, and I put the router back in. And the instructions say, and it makes sense, to put the bottom of the router collet to the bottom of the base of the Z-axis carriage. No problem. Until you want to put a bit in. Not going to happen. There's it on the wasteboard. So the wasteboard is going to have to go underneath this plane to be able to get bits in and out, let alone Z it off on the probe. Well, I'm going to try it, and I'm going to see how it goes. I made a lot of progress today. Yes, it's all tore apart. Anyway, problem that I was having was there wasn't enough Z height for cutting on a 3/4 inch wasteboard. In short, here's what I did. So there was a 40 by 20 on top of here. I took it off, turned the other wasteboard brackets on their side. They're not bolted in, it's just mocked up. And now my wasteboard will be right there, giving me lots of height. In doing this, I was able to take the bit on and off. I was able to Z it out on the probe. Okay, so here's what I did. Or here's what I was able to do. I was able to get the probe working. I was able to go 3/4 inch material and actually even go down to be able to flatten my wasteboard. But in doing that, you have to make some code changes in open build control. So you have to do that. Built me a workbench tonight for it. Just the start of it, the little skeleton build. Used the Craig jig to keep everything nice and clean. And I will be getting this set up tomorrow to start cutting again.